Hi, welcome back to Singer Family Adventures. What you're about to see is a very special video. It is a video of my father, Donald Singer, and today is his 84th birthday on August 27th. And so we wanted to have this video uploaded today in honor of his birthday. He's a very special guy, and it is a longish video, but it's a good one. He talks about his life with Disney, and then at the end talks about his marathon running, which is really quite impressive. So thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Welcome back to Singer Family Adventures. And we have a special guest with us today. Rafi's doing exercises. We are in Maryland visiting my father, Don Singer. You want to say hi to the camera?
Hi, camera.
You see where I get my silly sense of humor from. This is my dad. You can call him Dad, you can call him Don, whatever you want.
Just don't call me Mr. Singer.
Don't call him Mr. Singer. You can call him Grandpa. Some people do. Right?
Yes.
Why not Mr. Singer?
Everybody in this stupid place calls me Mr. Singer all the time. And I don't like it when some of these people I've known for 2 years now, and I feel close to them.
You want them to call you by your first name?
Yeah, and what they do in the African American community, which is nice, if you know somebody who you're more familiar with, but they're older than you, and you want to be respectful toward them, you call them Mr. Don or Miss Valerie. Well, you know that.
That's a very southern, in the South, everybody does that, black or white.
Yes.
You know, Rafi's best friend calls me Miss Valerie, so.
Yeah. Well, I guess many of the people here who live in the North have roots in the South. In other words, if they didn't live in the South, their grandparents did or something like that.
Right. Well, in Maryland, it's not quite the North, not quite the South, right?
Well, it's not as South as Georgia.
Right. Good old Mid-Atlantic.
Yeah.
So we are at my dad's home, which is a senior complex in Bowie, Maryland, which he is not super happy about right now. He's been here for 6 years, 7 years?
5.5 years.
5.5 years. All right, let me tell you something about Mr. Don, aka Grandpa here. He is brilliant when it comes to dates. He could meet you tomorrow, and 5 years from now, he would forget your name. He'd probably forget where he met you, but he'd say, "Oh, isn't your birthday this Tuesday?" And he'd remember your birthday, right?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, in some instances, yes.
He's very good with dates. Anyway, so my dad is about to turn 84, and that makes you exactly 1 year younger than another Donald. We're not talking about that pseudo-presidential guy. Do you know who the other Donald is that's a year older than you?
About Donald Duck.
Donald Duck, yes.
I thought he goes back to the 20s. Or is that Mickey Mouse?
Mickey goes back to the 20s, but Donald Duck came out in 1934.
Okay.
So there was all this like 85th anniversary merchandise this year.
Well, that's interesting because a lot of the people, there's more Donalds here than probably any other male name among the residents. And I wondered if that had anything to do with Donald Duck. But most of them, a lot of them were born in the 20s.
Okay.
The 20s and in the 30s they were common.
So maybe Walt Disney just picked a name that was already super popular. You think so?
Maybe.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask my dad a little bit about his Disney memories. If you watched our Lion King review, Jonah and I were talking about how I just burst out crying in just about every movie, and that's kind of my dad's thing too. But tell me, what is the first Disney movie you remember seeing?
It's one of the first movies I ever saw, and I have a very weak memory of it. But I think when I was 4 years old, we went and saw the Wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Wonderful Wizard of Oz when you were 4? What year did that come out? Do we know?
Oh, it would have been 39.
39? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That is not a Disney movie, but it's an amazing movie.
Yeah.
Do you remember seeing Disney movies as a kid?
Oh, yeah, lots of them. And it must have been maybe it was 42. I'm not sure when Dumbo came out.
I think it was 42. Yeah.
And I saw it on Thursday, and we went back and saw it again on Saturday.
Do you hear this? He saw Dumbo on a Thursday and he went back and saw it again on Saturday? Yeah?
And Uncle Everett said, "How can you see a movie twice when you're that age?"
Well, now kids watch a movie 3 times in a day, right? So did you remember liking Dumbo?
Yeah, that is scary. All these Disney movies had scary parts in them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I saw Pinocchio and Seven Dwarfs.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?
Yeah. And I guess my favorite is probably Bambi.
Yeah. Bambi's your favorite? How old were you when, do you know how old? Jonah, check what year Bambi came out.
Yep.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs came out in 1937, and that was the first full-length Disney movie.
Yeah, well, I saw it probably later. Of course, I didn't see any movies when I was 2 years old.
You weren't going to the movie theater at 2?
So Bambi came out in 1942, but the original Dumbo came out in 1941.
Okay, so he was 6 and 7.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think I saw Dumbo probably until 42. You know, sometimes it takes a while for them to
Yeah.
circulate.
Dad grew up in Amsterdam, New York, which is a pretty small city. It is a city, but it's a small city north of Albany, New York.
It was 35,000 in the 1940 census.
35,000 people.
Now
Okay.
it's about 21,000, I think.
Oh, wow. So it's shrunk.
Yeah, a lot of the people who are still there have moved out of
The actual city limits.
yeah.
Yeah. So Bambi was your favorite. Do you remember why? Or what about Bambi that you loved?
Well, the characters, it was sad and
Are you gonna cry? He's gonna cry.
it's sad when his mother gets killed.
I know. I said that I think one of my very first memories, certainly my first Disney memory, is going to see Bambi with you. You took me to see Bambi,
Uh-huh.
and we both cried. So,
And what I was thinking about that makes me cry
yeah.
is after the mother was killed, the father, who was quite distant, he came and talked to Bambi and sort of.
I know
At the end, you see Bambi and the father together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In other words, the father wasn't going to take care of him, I don't think, but it was sort of like he's telling Bambi, you know, you got to be grown up and
Yeah, after the fire.
you.
Were you ever teased about Donald? Did anybody call you Donald Duck or anything like that as a kid?
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay.
There was also Donald Castor in my class.
So there were 2 Donalds in your class, you and
Yeah.
Donald Castor? Okay. So do you remember anything about Disney? I mean, the years we're talking about, 41, 42, were during World War II, obviously. Do you remember anything? I know you remember a lot from World War II. Do you remember anything in relationship to Disney in World War II? Like, did they do anything that struck you as particularly connected to the war, or you don't remember? Or was it more like a distraction from the war?
I don't remember, but I think they probably had some patriotic cartoons where they had Disney characters in them or something like that.
Little shorts before
Yeah.
other movies? So,
Now, Mickey Mouse is a Disney character.
Oh, of course. He's the Disney character. Yeah.
So, yeah, I used to think about that a lot. And where's Peg Leg Pete? He was a villain or something?
Peg Leg Pete, yeah. He's the big guy, right? He sort of disappeared off the scene.
Yeah. But I can remember daydreaming that I was going to protect Connie from Peg Leg Pete.
His best friend who lived across the street, right?
Yeah, my girlfriend.
His girlfriend, his elementary school girlfriend, Connie.
Wait a minute, it was pre-elementary.
His preschool girlfriend. You were going to protect Connie from Peg Leg Pete?
Yeah, in my daydream.
Such a good guy this Donald is. That's funny. So can I ask you, can we talk about something a little more personal related to Disney? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So background for YouTube people is that Dad's first mother, his birth mother, my grandfather's first wife, died when Dad was 2 weeks old.
Yeah, 13 days.
13 days. He's the date master. Died when he was 13 days old. She never left the hospital. She died from catching strep throat in the hospital, and this is 1935, so it's before penicillin. And a year later, my grandfather remarried the woman who I always thought of as my grandmother, and she really was a mother to my dad in every way, and I love her dearly, and Rafi's actually named after her. But, you know, as a kid who knew that your first mother had died, so many of these Disney stories begin with that. Have you ever noticed, like, it's rare that a Disney character has both parents from the beginning to the end of a movie. Did you ever think about that as a kid? Did that ever relate
No.
to you? No? You didn't see yourself that way in relationship? No. Okay. I mean, I call her Sweetie Pie. She's gone now, but my grandmother that I knew, that she wasn't a perfect mother, but she was a wonderful mother, right? So it wasn't like the evil stepmother kind of thing at all,
No.
because she wasn't a step.
And she was very, very loyal to people in her family,
Yeah,
including me, of course.
yeah,
And she didn't like to be called a stepmother or anything like that.
well, she wasn't,
Yeah.
so I almost hesitate to ask the question. I just, with my boys, as a single mother, raising my two boys, I've wondered sometimes with them watching Disney movies when there's only one parent and one parent's missing or died or what have you, if that affected them. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think it has terribly, but it's one of those interesting pieces of Disney. And I think in the age when you were growing up, divorce wasn't that common, but there were still a lot of families with one parent or with, second marriages or what have you, because of death than because of divorce, right?
One big thing that comes to mind is the Dumbo movie where he's separated from his mother. That was
Where Dumbo gets taken away from his mother.
or his
Mother gets taken away from him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did that bother you when you watched it as a kid?
No, but it's a powerful part of the movie that makes you, that's upsetting.
Yeah, it's pretty traumatic. You haven't seen, I'm sure you haven't seen the new Dumbo. They came out with a new live action version of Dumbo.
No.
And in preparation to it, we watched the old Dumbo I did with my boys. It's still a beautiful movie, but it's got some horribly racist parts in it. And thankfully they took all that out for the new movie and sort of shifted the plot just a little bit.
In other words, the original one was racist.
The original one has a couple of, the worst piece is a song where you see all these faceless, large black men putting up the tents, and they're singing about how they really love to slave all day, and they don't care if they're not paid much, and then they, will waste their pay gambling it. I mean, it's very, and that's all you ever see those men doing, is being the faceless laborers who are all. So, anyway, but there's other movies like Snow White, and we haven't rewatched Pinocchio, but Bambi, which kind of stand up to time maybe a little better, What are your thoughts? He always looks this serious. You look serious.
I thought sometimes it goes so fast I can't.
So can I ask you about going to Walt Disney World?
Well, I went with you, yeah.
Right. It was 1974.
Yeah.
We went to Walt Disney World.
It was, I think it was
Talk to
probably
the
in
camera
April.
a little bit if you can.
I think it was in April. After that, we went to Miami, which you called Urami. I kept saying we're going to Miami. That's where
Your parents were?
my parents were.
Yeah.
And you thought it was, so you called it Urami because
Somehow I thought we went to Walt Disney World twice in 1974. Was it just one day?
just once. But I think we went more than one day, though.
Oh, so we went several days in a row. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
And what'd you think of it?
I thought it was interesting, and I enjoyed it, and I felt very much that you enjoyed it. It was a good place to bring you. I never had a strong desire to go back again.
It's funny because now there's so much for adults there without children. It's they really, I don't think they were marketing it as much to adults in the 70s, but Walt Disney's vision was always that it be a park for people of all ages, do you remember your favorite ride? Do you remember my favorite ride? That's a quiz because I remember my favorite ride.
I think it's a wonderful world.
It's a Small World,
Or a small world where you go round and round, yeah.
and that was one of them.
We did that many times.
Yeah,
And there was another one, but I can't remember it now.
it was the Peter Pan ride.
Uh,
And they still have both of those. It's a Small World and the Peter Pan ride. And they're still really fun. So it's very nostalgic for me. Do you remember any more modern Disney movies that you've enjoyed? Or any when I was a little kid? You must have taken me to Mary Poppins.
yeah, I've seen that, sure.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing, when we talk about kids watching the same movie over and over again. I'll just let everybody know I just turned 49. So I remember in 1977 when the first VHS came out.
The first what?
The first VCRs.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember just being shocked that at somebody's house they were watching Tom and Jerry at 7 p.m. because I knew it wasn't on at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And so, it's a different childhood when you can watch the same movie over and over again. We used to wait for them to come on TV as a special or go to the theater. Anyway, do you remember watching Cars, the first Cars with me? I was already an adult when Cars came out.
Not clearly, no.
Okay, I think Jonah was little, and we all watched Cars on the VCR or on the DVD together, and you should go rewatch it because you decided you were crying at the end, right?
I don't remember.
Well, you were, and you declared that you thought it was one of your top 5 or 10 favorite movies of all times.
I don't remember it at all.
No? So the basic plot line, Lightning McQueen is this red sports car.
Yeah.
Do you remember this? And
No.
he was he's very egotistical. He's so full of himself. He thinks he's special. And he runs out of gas in this teeny little town in the Southwest. Remember? Well, he gets stuck there, and long story short, he finally realizes that the guy who's the judge of the town was his favorite old racer from the olden days,
Uh-huh.
you know, and he like helps the old racer kind of get back into racing and admit his past and come to terms with his past, and everybody in the little town makes Lightning McQueen sort of find his heart and realize that people / cars are more important than being the winner. You know, that ring a bell? No. Okay. All right. Well, I want to. You have anything else you want to add about Disney right now, or no?
No, I think not. No.
You used to have a bunch of Disney comic books, right?
Oh, yes, that was an important part of my life. I think we got Disney and also Looney Tunes,
Looney Tunes.
which was other characters. And I was upset that Mom got rid of my old Disney comic books because they could have been worth something.
I'm sure they'd be worth something now.
Yeah.
Did you have like a subscription service, or
Yeah, I get it every month.
you'd get a new comic in the mail?
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting. So, and she didn't get rid of them. Did she get rid of them while you were in the army or something?
I don't know, maybe when,
But not when you were a little kid.
oh, no, when I was grown, yeah.
Yeah. So you used to read about Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and all of them too.
And I look forward to it every month.
Did you have a favorite character?
I guess it'd be Mickey Mouse.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of the other, I mean, there's lots we could talk about with Dad's life, but one of his great passions that started when he was older is that he became a runner, and he didn't really start running until he was, 55?
No, it was the summer that I turned 57. Well, I ran, but it was never serious.
Okay, you just jogged.
Yeah,
So
but-
what happened when you were 57?
Well, main thing is that your mom and I broke up.
Yeah, I know that. My parents split up.
And so I started running around the neighborhood, and it was sort of a way to release tension.
Sort of therapeutic.
And I was, starting out just running a mile around the neighborhood. And then I went to the Cornell reunion in 1992, which was...
Dad went to Cornell.
Where's Jonah?
Well, Jonah's gone, but the camera's still filming.
Okay.
Our videographer walked off.
And it was my 35th reunion and Dad's 65th reunion, and they had set up these reunion runs. And I had run it in 1987, the time before. I didn't think much of it, just did it. But this time I ran, and they had a 5-mile run and a 2-mile run. And I thought I wasn't capable of running 5 miles. I think in practicing...
He thought he wasn't capable of running 5 miles. Wait till you see where this story goes. Yeah?
I think when I was running around at Silver Spring, it might have been a mile, at the most 2 miles. So anyway, I got in the 2-mile run, and Dad was there as observer.
And how old was he? Did he run that one?
No, he ran the one in 87.
Okay, but he was 81 in 1987, right?
Yeah, that's the summer he turned 81.
In 81, my grandfather ran the 2-mile race. Okay, go on.
And so I crossed the finish line, and Dad says to me, "You came in second." And I said, "No, Dad, you didn't see all those people in front of me." I didn't see anybody in front of me, but I figured that they were there. And the one who won, I think, was 33, and he was way ahead of me. But I came in second.
So a 33-year-old beat you, but you
Yeah.
were,
And then the reason is the more serious runners were all doing the 5 miles.
I see. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that's what got me started. When I went back to Silver Spring, and I signed up for some runs. And I was doing 2 miles, and I signed up with this group that the fellow organizers just died recently. And I don't remember his name at the moment. And but they used to run in Crofton, which is nearby, which was really a nice run. And I think it was a 10K run, if I remember. But anyway, I started running, I think at the end of the year. I was, end of '92, I was running 10K.
Uh-huh. How many miles is the 10K?
6 1/4.
6 1/4. Okay.
Yeah, so that was a big jump up from 2 miles. And
Then when did you run? You must have run a half marathon first, right?
no,
I mean, before a marathon.
I never did that.
You never ran a half marathon?
Well, I did, but after I'd run marathons
Okay, so when did you run your first marathon?
in 2000.
2000. So you were 65?
Yeah. Now what I had done, and okay, 92. I think the year was 94. I ran in the I don't remember what they call it now. It was
The cherry blossom?
yeah, Cherry Blossom 10-mile run, where they got some really elite runners in it. You
Yeah,
went
that's
with me and watched it one time.
I did. I watched it on. Yeah.
And so I ran that in '94. That was my 3rd year running. And that's also the year where I started keeping a running log, which I still have all my running logs.
My father keeps logs and like lists of all kinds of personal information. Some of it too personal to mention.
And the running logs I'd like to keep as long as I'm alive, certainly.
You want me to like put your running logs in some kind of archive somewhere?
Well, it's up to you. It's up to you.
Oh, phone's ringing. So that was my aunt calling, Dad's little sister, my Aunt Judy, who's absolutely wonderful.
She's a terrific person.
She's a terrific person and a terrific sister and a terrific aunt. So, anyway,
So in '94 I started running 10 miles, and that was the most I did. I think, and, it could have been '94, but maybe it was '95. I ran in the Striders, which was the
the Annapolis Running Club.
club. They had a 10-mile run, which was always around my birthday.
Right.
And I may have run that maybe about 12 or 13 times. So,
And I came and watched you run it a couple times.
So I was running, 10 miles was my longest run until 2000. And I figured I would try to run a marathon. And the Striders were the ones who organized the training. And their idea is that anybody who could run 10 miles could, train for a marathon.
So do you hear this? At 65, he runs his first marathon. My dad has dabbled in sports his whole life, wouldn't you say? But was never like the super athletic guy.
I wasn't well coordinated.
He wasn't well coordinated. He's more a history and math, I mean this very complimentarily. You're like a history and math nerd more than a jock.
Not math, arithmetic.
Okay, arithmetic. I didn't know there's a distinction, but okay.
There's a big difference.
I know.
I add up figures, I still do it,
Okay. Well,
but I never took advanced math courses.
you weren't like a calculus kind of guy.
No, I
yeah.
never got near calculus.
So, but for somebody who's not super athletic to run their first marathon at 65, it was pretty remarkable. What was your time on that first marathon?
Probably, I think in the 4 hours and 20 minutes around in that category. Because I did a couple marathons like that.
That sounds pretty fast to me. 4 hours and 20 minutes?
Not 20, maybe 26 or 28 or
Okay.
somewhere around there. It's in the log.
He's got it all written down. And then tell us about Boston.
Okay. Well, Boston was my 5th marathon, and you had to qualify for it. And
You can't just run the Boston Marathon. You have to have won another marathon, not one, but run another marathon fast enough to be considered a top echelon runner, right?
well, yeah, and some people can get in, like if they you're donating to charity or something like that.
You can buy your way into the Boston Marathon.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think, but basically, you're supposed to qualify.
Uh-huh.
And my best marathon was the second. No, first I ran the Marine Corps, and then I ran 3 Baltimore marathons
Mhm.
in 2001, 2002, and 2004. And 2001 was my best. I did it in, I think, 3 hours and 56 minutes.
Wow.
That's the only time I ever broke
Broke 4 hours.
Yeah.
Is that when you qualified for the
No,
Boston?
no.
No?
The 4th one was a qualification one.
How come you didn't qualify with 350 something?
I wasn't thinking of doing that at that time.
So you would have if you'd tried.
And I don't know how old was I then? I must have been in the same category because I was 66 then,
Right.
and 69 when I qualified. So it's probably every 5 years it goes up, I don't know.
Dad won quite a number of running awards on the smaller races that he did because, he was pretty fast, and it's not that he was winning first place overall, but he was winning first place in his age group, or second place, or third place, right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
It's all by age group.
right. So you qualified in 2004
Oh, yeah.
for the Boston Marathon, and then was it 2005 that you ran it?
Yeah, yeah. In other words, I qualified in October 2004 and ran in April 2005.
He was 69 years old when he ran the Boston Marathon, and I know your time because it's framed. We're going to have to take a picture and insert picture here of his framed award. It was 4 hours and 27 minutes, is that right?
28, I think it says.
28?
so.
27? It's good.
Well, I qualified, okay, the qualification when you were in your 60, 69 was 4:15. And I finished the Baltimore at 4:13.
Okay, 2 minutes.
And the strange thing is I was having some trouble at the end, a little bit of leg cramps, and I would stop, and when I stopped once and sort of stretched my leg. And then, this is like the last mile or a mile and a half, and it was all mental at that point, as I had to run hard enough that I was going to get in under 4:15, but I also had to be careful not to run too hard because I didn't want to get another cramp.
You didn't want to injure yourself, yeah.
Well, I wasn't concerned about injuring, but if you have a cramp, you didn't want to
Then you'd
have to stop, and then you'd go over the 4:15.
Right.
So I made it by 2 minutes. And when I ran the Boston, what depends is not your age at the time, but what your age would be at the next Boston Marathon. And I would have been 70, and the qualifying was 4:30.
Right.
So actually I qualified for that too. And one of my regrets is that I didn't go back again. But in October of that year, I ran the, I guess I ran the half marathon. And that's when I passed out in Amanda's house. And the doctor put me on Coumadin or whatever, and that sort of affected my running that
Right.
winter.
Right. You started having some, yeah.
So I never tried to train for another marathon after that.
Wait, so is the Boston the last marathon you ran?
Yeah,
Okay.
5th and last.
Fifth and last, and then he still was doing half marathons and 10 miles for quite some time, weren't you?
My last big run was in October of 2011, where I did a metric marathon, which is 16 miles.
16 miles, that's
And
long.
I came in first. And I came in first because I was the only one in my age group
Woohoo!
who was
Give me
doing.
a high five.
I was the only one in my age group who,
Who completed it?
yeah.
That's impressive. And he probably still would have kept running, except then he ran into some health problems.
Well, I ran into cancer.
He ran into cancer, and he's been in a wheelchair for about 7 years, but I think there's no doubt that he survived his cancer, and he sort of learned to manage in the wheelchair because of his experience as a marathon runner, right?
Yeah, it's
You're-
helped me a lot. And it's helped me when I have these MRIs,
Uh-huh.
which are difficult mentally because you're,
They're no fun. I did one once. They're no fun.
yeah, but did you ever do it for 2 hours or 2.5?
Yeah, it was 2.5 hours. They were working on my head. It turned out I was doing nothing but clenching my jaw, but I was afraid I had a bigger problem.
Also, they were doing your head as well
Yeah.
as your,
It's so loud.
yeah.
Well, Dad, anything else you want to share with the our YouTube world?
What?
Anything else
No,
you want
no.
to share with the YouTube world?
No, but I think we're going to want to move on.
Yeah, we're going to go to dinner. So we really, really appreciate you watching this. Thank you so much for watching. We'd love it if you wanted to subscribe. If you hit that bell notification, you'll find out about our next videos. And here you have 3 of the Singer family members, right, Dad?
Right.
So go please spread some kindness somewhere in the world, and we will see you real soon. Thanks. All right, thank you again for watching. We really appreciate it. We're going to link 2 videos down here somewhere. One is our 100 subscriber giveaway, which is still running until September 14th. And the other one is our cruise announcement, which is coming up pretty soon. So thank you for celebrating my father's birthday with us. Please put a comment down below. Please like, and I'm going to be sharing all that with him. Thank you. Spread a little kindness in the world, and see you real soon.